Hello! I was bored the other day and I thought, is the Master Sword useless in Twilight Princess? As you can see, my mind is used only for the most important of questions. I mean, the game lets you unequip it and put back on the Ordered Sword, so the game is practically asking someone to attempt this. So today, I bring you, can you beat The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess, without using the Master Sword? And if not, how many times are you forced to use it? To start off, let's define the rules. First one is obvious. The usage of the Master Sword must be kept to a minimum. But what does that mean? When you unlock the Master Sword, you gain the ability to use it as a weapon, transform between human and wolf, and teleport away at any point. For this challenge, I can't attack with the Master Sword, and each time I slash it counts as one usage. Warping while in human form is also not allowed, so the game must force me to wolf form for me to be able to warp. Also, changing forms on the fly is banned. Each time I do either of those adds one usage to the counter. I'm also banning all modifications in the game for obvious reasons. Other than that, everything I can think of doing is allowed. So let's get right into the run. As you may expect, since you don't have the Master Sword until halfway through the game, the first half is played entirely as intended. Once you do get the Master Sword, you can just head back and leave the Sacred Oh. Well, this sucks. Only just started and already the challenge is impossible. But remember, I also said that if this was impossible, I wanted to find out the minimum amount needed. So after warping away, we add 1 to the counter. From here, we have to go to the Gerudo Desert. I originally tried going to Snow Peak first, but I realized partway through that it's actually better to go to the desert first. You do have to transform again to be able to climb the ladder and get the memo allowing you to go there. Once you enter the desert, it's simply rolling over to Arbiter's Grounds. Arbiter's Grounds, however, oh boy, this one is a pain. So you know how you have to beat these 4 posts to continue? Yeah, that requires a lot of transformations. Thing is though, there is a way to skip it. How? By clipping through the store. How do you do that? Staring at a rupee for hours at a time. Because of a bug with the idle animation here, Link will move extremely slow in a direction. Issue is, it is so slow that it will take hours to do. This is what low percent runners use to skip some items during the run, but it shouldn't be that bad. I'll just leave my console running and... oh, fuck off. Well, I don't want to be moving the Wii remote for hours, so I'll just have to do something drastic. Switch versions. On the GameCube version, you can leave the console running and you can clip through. Issue is, I left my console on for 24 hours and barely made any progress. Without a cheat, I couldn't tell my speed before a rupee roll, so this required way more waiting than I had the patience for, so I had to give up. I still wanted an answer, so I just got the post and let's pretend I sat here for 5 days. After doing so, you could continue with the dungeon until... uh-oh. This room has invisible rats. I tried for a good long time trying to get through this room with as clean movement as I can to avoid the stupid rats, and I just could not. I figured that if I were to do a transformation, I could save one by going to the right instead and getting the boss key first. As a wolf, you could clip through the pillar here and get the boss key. Although I did decide to ignore the boss key though, as that would force me to become human, and I don't want that yet. You could traverse back over to where the Stalfos are, but you sadly cannot kill them unless you are human. And before you say, just use the boss key chest to become human, that would make it quite difficult, if not impossible from what I could tell, to be able to traverse this pit of sand. Become human to blow them up and continue to Death Sword, where we got to transform to attack him in ghost form, then transform again to attack him in his non-ghost form. After getting the spinner, you could go back like normal, get the boss key, fight Stallard, and leave. You then beat the Shadow Beast, and you can't leave the desert without warping, so that's another transformation there, bringing us to 7 Master Sword usages. You could also save some usages by doing the map glitch to skip getting the Reekfish sent. By opening the map on the same frame you call Midnight, and then warping, the game breaks, deactivating loading zones and void triggers. This allows you to climb a mountain without descent. This does mean that the game will crash if you try to enter the cave, so you have to use the Howling Stone to deactivate the glitch. Entering the cave though, there is no way to climb unless you are a human. Kill the Shadow Beast and fled down to the Snow Peak Mansion. You need to transform here to get past the dig spot and then get the key. Keep in mind that you want to get the key here, as it will be able to save some transformations later. But here you can use a trick called the spinner bomb boost to get up on the wall here and go on to the other side. From here, you can use the cannon on the freezer here and fight the boss. This is why you need to get the key. Otherwise, you need to do another transformation to either clip past the freezer or get the key on this side. You only need the ball and chain to beat the game, so after getting it, you can just save and quit, and then reload your saves to be right at the start of the dungeon and leave. There is no way to leave Snow Peak from here without warping though, so there's another one. Warp to Kakariko, become human to enter here, and in the basement, you can do a precise transformation to get to the cannon here. Warp it to Lake Hylia, transform again, and talk with Fire to have him fix it. Then enter City in the Sky. City in the Sky is luckily very easy for us, as there are no usages of the Master Sword here at all. You only need to do one thing to be able to avoid it. By aiming in a specific spot with a boomerang and throwing it, then pressing V to take out your sword, then A to do a jump attack, Link moves a large distance and you can skip the ropes here, saving 2 transformations. This is only possible on GameCube, however, as we break the target with the boomerang when you pull out your sword. The Argarok fight is a pain in the ass, however. Not because it's difficult, but without the boosted strength from the Master Sword, it just drags on. But again, it's still pretty easy. With that, you could go over to the Mirror of Twilight in Gerudo Desert, which means yes, we need to do another rupee slide. In the Palace of Twilight, there's something interesting here. The black fog turns Link into a wolf, if he isn't already one. Since this is forced by the game, it doesn't add to the counter. So here, we can use that to become Wolf Link to kill the Xantheads. Then the chest forces us back into human. This allows us to do the first part without having to do any transformations. You can also use this on the other side to kill a Shadow Beast and Xantheads. You still need to transform into human manually to get the key here and go to the door. Once you get the upgraded Master Sword, you'll find this wall that you cannot pass without using it. I tried getting around with LGAs, but sadly it did not work. So for the first time, you have to use it in a non-transformation way. And it only gets worse from here. You can become Wolf here and spawn the staircase. It's very tedious though and requires a lot of pushing, but it can be done. You then need to not only become human, but also use the Master Sword to activate this platform. You need to do the same on the other side as well. You need to activate this platform here and also take away the fog for you to get to the boss key in this room. Of course, there's still fog in the next room. I was able to slash once to clear the fog and again to activate the platform. From here, the dungeon is easily done without the Master Sword until you get to Xanth. It is impossible to attack him without anything but the Master Sword. I've tried. From my knowledge, it seems the least amount of attacks needed is 6 on phase 1, 6 on phase 2, 8 on phase 3, 7 on phase 4, 8 for phase 5, and 13 on the final phase, bringing us all the way up to 71 Master Sword usages. Thankfully, we are in the home stretch. While you do need to warp to get out of the desert, the mailman will force you into human form, and even if you skip the trigger, the next cutscene forces you into human. Hyrule Castle is entirely possible without the Master Sword. Even in this room, with good movement you can avoid the rats. Ganon, however, isn't as lucky. You can't deflect his projectiles or hit him with the Ordon Sword. Luckily for phase 1, you can use bottles or the shield bash to knock back the Electro Ball attack. On Beast Ganon, you can't attack the stomach unless you're Wolf or using the Master Sword. So a transformation to Wolf is best to do this fight. The game forces you into human for the horseback phase, and interestingly, you can hit him here with the Ordon Sword. The final phase, however, you cannot, so it takes 3 jump attack quick spin combos, so 6 hits, and 1 final one to finish him off, bringing us to a final total of 80 usages of the Master Sword needed. Honestly, I am a bit disappointed in this number. I was expecting more so around 20, I was not expecting 80. Overall, it was a decent amount of fun. Not the most interesting challenge for a game, but it did require a bit of thinking to be able to get around to puzzles. If any of you have ideas on how to get less, let me know in the comments. Anyway, thanks for watching.